we have to get a little bit of savings. So part of the first thing we'll talk about in the budget is how to set aside a little bit of savings. Listen to this statistic. As of January this year, 2023, there was a report that shows 57% of Americans have less than $1,000 saved. It doesn't take much nowadays in your car or your house or your medical to need $1,000. And over half of Americans don't have $1,000 saved. That's why we go in debt. Because when we need money for something, we don't have it, we got to get it. These are necessities. I need the medical. I need the house fixed. I need the car fixed so I can go to work to make the money. These become necessities, and if we don't have the money set aside and plan for these unexpected, we have to, just get that in your head. I'm going to say that a lot. Plan for the unexpected. The unexpected will happen. And we take the unexpected and they become inconveniences instead of catastrophes. Because when we don't have the money, we go into debt, and now that is becoming a stress emotionally, financially, marriage-wise. Relationally, that's one of the killers of relationships is the financial stresses. So we have to avoid some of these things. We're going to talk about how to get some savings set aside for the emergency. Then we're going to get talking about how to get some savings aside for the bigger things like losing your job or being out of work for a while. I'll get the book for when I get into that section that I read. I remember reading the guy talked about having some FU money. Sorry if I offend anybody, but he talked about having FU money, meaning you're not going to treat me like crap because I have the money to be able to survive without this job until I get something that's better. And that's a good feeling. It's a nice feeling knowing that, yeah, I'd like to have a job. I'd like to be working. I'd like to be adding to my future. But the good thing is I'm not going into debt because I was prepared for something. So we'll get into some of that, how to build up that cushion and how to plan. The last thing is investing. And that's kind of what I really want to focus this entire channel on is there's so much misinformation about investing. I don't want to say people's names. I don't want to embarrass anybody. I've talked to two people that are very close to me that are investing. They're part of their workforce. One is a 403B and one's a 401K. Both of them, when we were talking, I was like, oh, so where's your money invested? They're like, at work. And I was like, oh, what kind of, do you know the funds that you have? And they're like, I don't know. One was like, I think it's with Fidelity. I'm like, we'll get into this. But Fidelity is like the cookie jar. That's where your money is being kept. Now, what kind of cookies are in there? Are you in stocks? Are you in CDs? Is it in a savings money market? What's the money invested in? We'll get into that more in the investing. But listen to this. 1 in 3, 33% of Americans have zero goose egg, zero invested in retirement. And another 23% less than 10K. So that's 56%. Again, over half of Americans have less than $10,000 saved toward retirement. And a lot of people, especially older people, maybe about 10, 15 years older than me, a lot of them had the pensions. You may have a job, whether you're a teacher, federal worker, military, you may have a pension. That's great. We'll get into some of that as well. But more and more companies have gone away. There's no pension. That's the whole reason 401ks were invented and brought about. The 401k is your way of saving toward your retirement to help pay for that. You say, well, how much do I really need? We'll get into some of that scenario type stuff. But the average Social Security payment now with the new 8% bump that we got in 2023 is $1,827 a month, $1,827 a month, or around $22,000 a year. That's the average. That means there's people much lower than that, and there's people that are higher than that. Don't forget there's a cap on how much you can get from Social Security. So some people are at the top level, it's maxed out. And that's fine. They may be getting $3,000 a month, and they may have a spouse getting $3,000 a month, and they're doing fine. But the vast majority of people are between about $1,500 and $2,000 a month. That's $22K a year, give and take, depending where you fall in that. Now, listen, the average retiree, this is where I'd be like, oh, I need to edit this video. I'm going to splice and we're going to make this professional. Nope, I messed up, so we're going to just keep rolling and you're going to get to hear it. So the average retirement expense is $4,345 a month, or roughly $52,000 a year. Okay, so you don't have to be a math genius. I like math. Math kind of makes me giggly. I like math. $52,000 a year is what the average expense is. $22,000 is what the actual average Social Security is. A lot of people say, well, I'll have Social Security when I retire, I'll be okay. You'll be okay if you want to live on less than half of the average cost of a retirement. So you have to come up with, on average, $2,500 a month to fill that gap. Now, there's a lot of other numbers we could look at, and I'll throw some charts up on other videos. I'm not going to get into all that today. Just basic bottom line is there's a gap between how much the average person will get from Social Security and how much the average person will spend in retirement. And then we have to look at the other thing. Do you want to just retire and survive? Do you just want to retire and make it, scrape by? If you have to, again, this isn't a guilt trip. I get that. There's a lot of circumstances that put us in that place. But if you're able and you can plan and you can budget and you can look forward and manage your money early and wisely into the future, you don't have to just survive in retirement. You can go into a retirement where you are prepared to enjoy those years of slowing down. Whether you work part-time just to keep your mind sharp, or you don't work at all and you just enjoy the grandkids or in your hobbies. Maybe you're a golfer and you want to finally, get out there 3 or 4 times a week, or whatever the case may be. That you can do those things if you want. Everyone's retirement's going to look different. We'll do some videos just on retirement. I'm not there yet. I have some plans, some things I'd like to do. So it kind of depends on where I'm at. When do I want to retire? Do I want to work some part-time jobs? Look at some of those things. So that's the basics. Bottom line is there's a financial illiteracy in our country. We can help each other get better. We can look at ways of being wise. We have a lot of things that we have to look at, and we're just going to do some videos over and over, adding little bits and pieces. I hope you'll watch some of these maybe pass on to people. If you're more advanced and you're great at budgeting, but maybe you're not good with debt. Maybe you just want to jump into when we get to the investing portions. Maybe you want to talk about the single stocks versus index funds and what are expense ratios. What's a beta in a stock or ETF? What are those things? And we'll get into a lot of those. I'm, again, not wanting to start out above anyone. I want to start out with the very basics, because when all these are loaded up, all the videos get published, you can just jump to the ones that are more of interest to you. But for those who need to start on step 1, we have to start with understanding money. People say, well, money's not the most important thing. No, it's not. But you need money. You need money. You have money, whether it's coming in big chunks or small chunks. And don't feel like this is only for people who don't make a lot of money. There's people who make over $100K who can't pay a $1,000 discretionary bill. They're just not prepared for it because they're maxed out. So it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you save. And that's what we're going to focus on, is managing our money. Take control of your money. Be in control of your future, of your life. I'm not talking about not enjoying life today. You only live once mentality either, where you spend it all today and then your retired older self is looking to your kids saying, I need help, or you're living in a state that you don't want to live in. So we're going to balance enjoying life today and planning for the future. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope it's the type of content you're looking for, and I hope to make some improvements as I go along. Maybe I'll get some fancy graphics and stuff, but we're just going with, this is who I am, having a conversation with you, and hopefully we'll start getting some feedback and get questions from you, and I can answer questions. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I do have an MBA. I have spent lots of time studying and learning about finances, but I would always recommend getting professional advice if you're unsure. I hope to give you some basics to start understanding, even when you go to the professionals, what to ask them. So with that, we're out. We'll talk to you soon.